just going through the technique and the setup. So because we're coming into a half kneeling position, it means that one of the knees is going to be down on the floor. And to make it a little bit more comfortable on your knee, and also to help with the alignment of your pelvis, it's good to have something soft to put the knee on, roughly around 1 inch high. Now I've got myself a little yoga block here. You could use a rolled up mat, or maybe a thin pillow, just something that you can elevate the knee on, and it's a lot more comfortable. And I'll go through in a little bit more detail about how it helps out with the alignment of the pelvis as well. So we can also use an external weight. So I've got myself a kettlebell. Doesn't have to be a kettlebell, you could use a dumbbell in a goblet position. Or if you don't have either of those, then you can just as easily use a bag that you could put some heavy books in, or some bottles, or some bricks, or some rocks, or whatever, just so you can give yourself a little bit more weight. And that just helps engage your abdominals. And it also helps shut off the hip flexors that little bit more as well. Don't necessarily need it, but it can help out. So regarding half kneeling position, so I'm going to be stretching the front of the right hip, which means that my left leg is going to be forwards. And we're literally just looking for 2 90-degree angles within the knees. So we've got 90 degrees here, roughly 90 degrees here within the knees. I've got my heel underneath my knee on the leading leg. And I'm just making sure that everything's in line, the foot, the knee, the hip, and also on this back leg. Just regarding where we are with the pelvis, we're going to roll the pelvis back into a posterior tilt. You can just put your hands on your hip and just roll the pelvis back. From doing that, you might even feel a bit of a stretch on the front of the hip and your glutes engage, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, okay? From here, we're making sure that we've got the rib cage down. So what can happen very easily is that this happens. We don't want that to happen. We're going to take a little breath in for the nose, we're going to breathe out for the mouth, and we're going to draw that rib cage down without drawing in at the tummy. So you want to feel the abdominals working as well, okay? So from another point of view, so from this front view, this is where this pad can help out. So you can see that we've got everything in line here. The pelvis is forwards, everything's nicely in line. Now what can happen very easily is that we can shift. So that this leading leg, this hip is going to raise up. And also what can happen is that we can shift to the side, okay? Now what we want to try and do is to get down into this hip, which means again that we can put the hands onto the side of the hip, and we're just going to literally just draw down. So it's going to go down like so, which doesn't mean that we're shifting to the side. So hands on the hip, we're going to shift into that left hip. And now hopefully that should help with the alignment of the pelvis. And when you do that, you should also feel just the inside of this right thigh working as well. That's when you know when you got it right. So shifting in here, which doesn't mean that we're shifting like this. So just be careful with that. So coming back to this position here, this is where we can come into the goblet position with the weight. So exactly the same thing, just keeping the chin tucked in, and then we're just going to be looking to unshrug the shoulders and then drawing the elbows forwards. From this point, we're just going to hang out here and breathe for around 4 or 5 breaths. So a nice smooth breath in through the nose, and then a nice long exhale through the mouth. So what that will help do is engage the abdominals, but it'll also open up the space between the spine and the shoulder blade. So you should feel a nice little stretch there as well. If you don't have a weight, then you can literally just do that with your arms. So from here, unshrug the shoulders, drawing elbows through, and you can also do that by drawing the arms out to the side, just like so. So it's as simple as that. Any questions, let me know.